Hello children. Today we are going to discuss about another chapter, that is chapter number 3. This chapter is about a character set of Java. A briefing is done about the character set of Java because every language need a character set. When we communicate with anybody, we are using language. So we are going to communicate with a computer. So we need a language. Hence, language plays a very important role in communication. We are going to start the chapter with the general introduction. Java is a computer language people use to communicate with the computer. It's a very powerful computer programming language. We can write very powerful programs in Java. So let us study about the character set used in Java. Those students who are not able to watch the video in full screen, please log in with your Google account in Campuscare itself. For example, to like a video, then come back to your YouTube channel, then go to library, then history. You can see all those videos you have watched there in the Campuscare app. This can be done in your phone, smartphone, as well as there in your laptop. So the notes and everything can be written clearly and that can be kept in your copy. So let us start. So children, here we start values and data types. This is the chapter heading. In this chapter, we are going to discuss Java character set, ASCII code, Unicode, then tokens, escape sequences. First we are going to discuss about why character set is required. We know that we wanted to communicate with many people, with your friends, with your books, with your computer, with your mobile phone and so many. Then how you are going to communicate? There are various mediums you communicate with the people, your gadgets, etc. Here our communication mainly we are going to deal with a computer. Look at here. You wanted to communicate with the system or computer. This is the thing you need to communicate, that is your computer. And your language is maybe Hindi. Mainly while communicating with the computer, your language is English. And the computer understands only the language of zeros and ones. That language we call it as the binary language. The one and only language that computer can understand is the binary language. No other language computer can understand. So you don't know this language. The language of computer you don't know. Still you wanted to communicate with the computer. In order to communicate with the computer, you need characters, alphabets, set of alphabets. When you learn a language, what you are doing first? You are admitted to the class LKG, UKG. That time you are learning the basics of your language like Hindi, English, etc. You are learning the alphabet sets first. Then slowly you learn the other punctuation marks, etc. In one day you are not mastering the language. It will take time. So without a character set you can't write the language. So we need to communicate with the computer. So here we have certain computer coding are there, encoding systems are there, because computer only understands binary language. The main encoding systems used are binary coded decimal, American Standard Code for Information Interchange, ASCII. You can pronounce ASCII or ASCII, no problem. American Standard Code for Information Interchange. This is important for us. Now extended binary coded decimal interchange code and Unicode. We are going to discuss about the Unicode and ASCII. See now about ASCII. ASCII characters are represented by 7 bits. These are standard character codes used to store data so that it is may be used by other software programs. The standard ASCII code defines 128 characters, that is from 0 to 127. This is the total number of characters that can be represented by using an ASCII coding system, standard one. See, this ASCII also can be divided into two. One is ASCII 7. It's a 7-bit standard ASCII code. It allows 128 unique symbols. ASCII 8. It's an extended version of ASCII 7. It's an 8-bit code. It allows 256 symbols. See, there is a doubt now. 7-bit means 128, and when it comes to 8 it's becoming 256. So here it is very simple. See, we have only 2 symbols. How many symbols? 2 symbols. Which are those symbols? 0 and 1. So we are going to express the number of locations what we can find out, combinations. 2 to the power, in this case it is 2 to the power 7. 2 to the power 7 is what? 128. When it becomes 8 bits, we are getting 8 individual bits and we have 2 symbols. So 2 to the power 8. 2 to the power 8 means it is 256. So total number of characters that can be represented by the extended version of ASCII is 256. Unicode is the other coding system. Unicode we will be discussing afterwards. Just understand, any language that you are speaking that can be represented by using Unicode. See, this is a diagram over here. Here hope is written, HOPE. We are going to see how to convert this to binary. This is the language of computer, zeros and ones. If you are writing any letter, how we are going to communicate with the computer, that we are going to see. I will only explain one example, so listen properly. We have, consider 104. 104. This is the equivalent ASCII code of small letter H. 104, because the ASCII code of small letter H, small letter starts from 97. So here when H comes it will be 104. So every character is given an equivalent decimal number. Okay, so H means 104 for us. Now in computer we need to convert this one to this format. What is this format? Zeros and ones. How to do that? It's pretty very simple. Let us look. See, in order to convert, I am converting this 104. What is 104? It is the equivalent decimal code of small letter h. So how to convert? I have written this table for only 104. See, you have to start from 1. Then it's double. 2. 2, it's double. 4. 4, it's double. 8. 8, it's double. 16. 16, double. 32. Then 32, it's double. 64. You have to look at this number. When we multiply 64 with 2, it comes 128. So that is exceeding 104. You have to write the last digit as equal to or less than this digit, this number. So 128, when we will write, it will exceed this number. So I have stopped with 64. Now find out the possible combinations which will give you 104. Okay, the possible combination which will give you 104. Which is the possible combination? You are giving 104, 64 plus 32 plus 8. 64 plus 32 plus 8 becomes 104. Okay, are you getting? So, in places where you have used in order to get 104, all those places you need to put 1. Other places you keep zeros. So this is the very easy method for converting a decimal number to binary. Very easy. I think you got it. So just compare this one. What I have written and what we have converted, both are equal. See, 1101, 1101, then 000. Exactly, it is correct. So when I press H on the keyboard, this code will be generated inside the computer. You are knowing that every computer, when you press any key on the keyboard, there is an electrical pulse is generated. Everything inside the computer is electrical pulse. So electrical pulse is represented in the form of presence and absence of light. This 0 shows absence of light and 1 shows presence of light. So its combination we have made different combinations. For every character we have made different. When you press capital letter, small letter H, and a code will be generated, this one inside the computer. This will be executed and H will be printed on your screen. This is what we are doing. Now, character set, more discussion. Whatever we have learned so far, its definitions are displayed here. Whatever I have discussed so far, all the important things are displayed. So, pause and learn these things. Okay, I told you about ASCII code. But in the book itself and from many places, you are knowing that you are going to use in Java language a new coding system called Unicode. This coding system was established in the year 1991. Before that, everywhere mainly ASCII coding was used. Now, our question is, why Unicode? There are reasons. See, Unicode, International Character Encoding System. Unicode is a character encoding standard that has widespread acceptance. It uses 2-byte character code. 2-byte character code. I have stressed on that. The first version of Unicode was introduced in the year 1991, as I told you. Most recent version of Unicode, that is 13.0, contains a list of 1,43,924 characters, Where we are now with Unicode 1,43,924 characters. Oh my God. And by using ASCII, we were only able to represent 256 characters. Now see the difference. See the difference. A very big difference. The difference you are feeling over here, that is because of the system. I am going to explain the system. Once again, here with the diagram, see, this is ASCII. In ASCII code, to represent one character, we were having how many bits? 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bits. Okay, so 2 to the power 8, 256 characters. We were only able to represent how many characters over here? 256 characters only. Now look at in Unicoding. See, it's a 2 byte character code. This was 1 byte, 8 bits. 2 byte means, see, 1 byte is this one, and 2 byte means just double of this. That means 16 bits. 16 bits instead of 8. Unicode uses 16 bits. That means, very simple, you can say that the number of characters that can be represented by using Unicode system is 2 raised to the power 16. That exactly comes 65,536. But this is the newest version, so it can go up to these many characters. Okay, so are you getting me? So by using 16-bit coding system, that is Unicode, you can represent 65,536 characters. That means after the 13.0 updation, it is able to represent these many characters. That means this Unicoding system is able to represent any language that you are using around the world. But ASCII was only able to handle the basic English language. That's why Hindi, Arabic, Chinese, Malayalam, Tamil, all languages are available in computer because of the widespread acceptance of Unicode. So Java uses this character set Unicode. See, this is total 256 characters by ASCII, and here you can represent 65,536 characters. Now we are going to discuss about Java tokens. See the definition of token, very simple one. The smallest individual unit in a program is known as token. Here we are discussing computer languages, remember that. See, Java token can be divided into 5: keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and separators. See this example. In this example, we have int x is equal to 15 plus 30. See, this is a statement from a program. This is a statement, Java statement. It's a valid Java statement. Each individual unit of this, we call it as Java token. Each individual unit means this is int. In this category, I have 5 divisions over here. In this category, you need to find out what is this. In this category, this is keyword. Now, x, identifier. Now, equal to, it's an operator. 15, literal, plus operator, and 30, it is again literal, and this semicolon is separator. See, in one statement itself, everything what I have mentioned over here, it came. So every individual unit of a program is known as Java token. I think it's clear for you now. So integer means keyword, identifier, here it is x, literal 15 and 30, operator, this assignment operator and plus separator is the semicolon. We are going to discuss about this one in very detail. So let us see. Keywords. See, keywords definition is very clearly given. Keywords are special tokens in the language which have reserved use in the language. Keywords may not be used as identifiers in Java. You cannot declare a field whose name is keyword. See, Java has 50 keywords total. Total Java has only 50 keywords. Among that, 48 only used. Okay, goto and const. These two are not used currently. Okay, these two are discontinued. It's not used nowadays. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about this one little bit. These are the all possible keywords available in Java. Only 50. With this only we are building our program. These are the official words that can be used in your program. These all words are having special meaning declared in the language. That's why they are called keywords. They are having key meaning. They convey certain meaning to the language. That's why it's called keywords. Here, true, false and null. True, false and null. In this list you can see that. True, false and null. You can see these three are not considered as what? Keywords. But technically when we say these as what? Literals. True, false and null. Okay, they are literals, I told you. Now see, certain stars are given. Those stars will add meaning with this one. So you can see when this was discontinued or when this was added and all those things. So what is in brief? In brief, keywords are reserved words and they are not used for any other purpose. The purpose which is used in the language, for that purpose only it can be used. Now there is a big question for you. See this, goto and const. They are not nowadays, it's not keywords, but they are simply reserved. That does not mean that I can use these words for some other purpose. They are still reserved. You cannot use these two words for any other purpose. So the question is, all keywords are reserved words or not? All keywords are reserved words or not? Yes, all keywords are reserved words. But all reserved words are keywords? Now will be giving me an answer very quickly. What? No. All reserved words are not keywords. Examples are there. Goto and constant. They are reserved but they are not keywords. Is it clear for you? Now keyword we have completed. And we have identifiers. See, identifiers. What is the meaning of identifier? Identifier means to identify something. Identifier means to identify something. Here, the names given for variables, methods, classes, packages, interfaces, etc. are called identifiers. We can say simply, if you are giving name to various parts of a Java program, that names are simply called what? Identifiers. We need to name it. We have to name for a class. We need to name our variables. Okay? Then methods, classes, etc. etc. So all those names what we are mentioning, it's called identifier. So there are certain rules for identifiers. First rule. A keyword cannot be a identifier. Can you write a keyword as identifier? Never possible. So keyword, you cannot write int if is equal to 10 because if is a keyword. Now don't use a space in between the names, identifier names. Don't use any space. Space is an invalid character for giving names for identifier. Next, don't use a special symbol other than, this is not hyphen, this is underscore and dollar symbol. The only two symbols that can be used, special symbols that can be used as identifier is underscore and dollar symbol. No other symbol can be used, including space cannot be used. Identifier name should not start with a digit. It should not start with a digit, meaning 9xy is equal to, you cannot write like that. You have to start with either underscore or dollar, otherwise with an alphabet. It can be of any length. Length does not matter. The length can go up to any length, no problem at all. Now Java, some conventions are there. Conventions are not rules, but it has to be followed. The conventions. If only a single word, then use lowercase. See, single words. Int balance is equal to 500. This is a single word. So, use lowercase letters only. If more than one word, then start first word with the lowercase and other words start with the first letter as capital. See, bank balance. B-A-N-K bank. This is the first word in lowercase and second word's first letter, it is in uppercase. This is the convention. So, better you need to follow this. Naming conventions for class and interfaces are also there. We will, other naming conventions I won't discuss, it's simply given, you read and understand. The main one is every word start with the first letter as capital. See, if you are naming a class, see, balance, class balance, B should be capital. And if your class is having two words, then the first letter of the first word should be in capital and the second word's first letter also should be in capital. Now we are going to discuss literals. Literal means constants. Fixed value assigned to variables used in expressions is known as literals. So, literals in other languages it is known as constants. See, we have integer literal. First category is integer literal. We are going to discuss various integer literals and before that you should know what is integer literals. When you write any number without decimal, see, I am repeating that sentence again. Any number without decimal when you write, then it's qualifying for integer literal. These are data type and its size. I am not going to discuss this one because this topic is given in the next section. I am only discussing about the numbers. When you write int a is equal to 15, that 15, that is the integer literal. That part only I am discussing. So integer means the constant can be any number without a decimal point. It can be classified into three. Integer can be classified into three again. Decimal integer literal, octal and hexadecimal. It can be classified into three: decimal integer literal, octal integer literals, hexadecimal integer literals. See, decimal. What is deci means? Do you know? Deci means 10. So the meaning is decimal integer literal means, have you used the decimal integer literals in your life? You may be answering easily that, sir, we have not used this one at all. But you have used and you are using. This is the decimal integer literal is the system that you are using in your daily life. The numbers having 10 symbols, 0 to 9. That's why we say base 10. Base 10 means, base 10, what do you mean by base 10 means? The number system which is having 10 symbols. Which are the symbols used over here? 0 to 9. That's why Now, in computer there is octal number system also. Octal means base 8, 0 to 7. 0 to 7 total number of symbols becomes, what is the total number of symbols? 8. Now, this is a new one and a very important one, that is hexadecimal integer literals. This is having a base 16. What is the base of this hexadecimal number? 16. You may be asking from where 16 came, because we are only having digits 0 to 9 only. Then how 16 came? Where are the symbols? Yes, we have the symbols. We have the symbols. We use 0 to 9, that is from the decimal. 0 to 9 means 10 symbols. Now A, B, C, D, E, F. That means total symbols now we have in the hexadecimal system is, please say, what is it? 16. 0 to 9, 10. A to F, 6. Total 16 symbols are used. Even you can use this A to F in small letter also, but you have to use this as capital letter. That is the custom you need to follow. Okay, so this number system hexadecimal is very important. Okay, so there is a confusion which number system you are going to use in Java. When you type normally, the numbers will be considered in decimal. When I type int a is equal to 15, that 15 will be in decimal number system. Okay, now you can do this one by in octal or hexadecimal also. If you wanted to type this number as in decimal, then you don't add anything, simply you write the number. 15, only 15 you will write. 20 means only 20. If you wanted to make it in octal, you will write the number with a leading 0. And if you wanted to make it in hexadecimal, you will write 0x first, then the number will be written. Okay, that's a hexadecimal number system. So, can you say what is the difference between 0, 1 and 0x1? Yes, you are right. 0, 1 means it's a octal number because it's starting with a leading 0. And 0x1, it is which number? Hexadecimal, because it's starting with a 0x. If it is decimal, then it will start with a symbol 1. Literals continuing, we have floating literals now. Floating literals. See, floating literals means constants like 1.02 minus 2.689, then 8523.369, 2105, etc. See, here the numbers are represented with the decimals. There is a decimal, it's a must. If you are not having decimal, decimal will be added by the system automatically. So these type of numbers are called floating literals. So simply we can define floating literals are numbers with decimals. Numbers with decimals, that means floating literals. These all are examples. I told you this all explanation will be in the next session. Not in this one, it's range also. So when you write floating literals, you have to remember in Java there are two type of floating literals. One is float, the other one is double. Okay, there is a big difference between float and double. The difference is float uses 4 bytes and double uses 8 bytes. This is pretty simple difference, but there is something very important to understand. We say this is a single precision number, this is a double precision number. What do you mean by this is, when you consider, if you write 3 see this is the value of pi. If you are writing in float data type, this will be the answer stored. Okay, and if you write the same thing in double, this will be the answer stored. See the accuracy level? Can you see the accuracy level? Now, when you write this one in double, already I have mentioned here, this will be the answer. and when you convert it into float, this will be the answer. So float and double means this is single precision, this is double precision, meaning you don't worry about much, but just understand float and double. When you compare, double is having very high accuracy and precision comparing with the float. Now look at this float and double, something I have to explain. See, I told you float is using total bits, that is 4 byte means 32 bits. See, when you count from here to here, it will be 32, and this is used for, this first bit is used for, this is every bit, 1 bit, second, third, fourth. So first bit is used for only keeping the sign, whether it is plus or minus. Okay, 0 will be, when you see 0 over here, then it is a positive number. When you see 1 over here, then it is a negative number. Java does not support unsigned numbers. Whether you give or not, it will add a sign to that. That means Java always use 0 or 1 to the first bit. If you are not giving any sign, that will be treated as positive. That means 0 will be added over here. Now this 8 bits, this 8 bit will be used for representing your exponent, and the rest will be used for representing the fraction, the decimals. Here also, this is double representation, double data type, where this bit is used for what purpose? Now you are knowing it. Yes, you said it right. What you said? You said is this bit is used for keeping the sign of the number. It can be 0 or 1. 0 means positive, 1 means negative. Now 11 bit is used for the exponent, and 52 bits are used for the fraction. So see, there itself you can find the accuracy level of these two. This is more accurate than this one. This is float, this is double. Now you see, there is a question, 34.5F and 34.5. When you write decimal number, simply when you write, this will be considered as in double. When you write numbers like this, 34.5F, this means it is in float. So a suffix F with a number, it's making it clear it's a float number. If you write a number simply, then that will be in double form. Next is character data type. Character data type, already I have explained. Character data type, it uses, Java uses Unicode. So it uses 2 bytes to represent one character. So any character in single quote, just look at here. A in single quote, B in single quote, @ in single quote, any character in Java represents a character. Any character in single quote. Remember, it's in single quote. And its size is 2 bytes. So when you write char, T is equal to, in single quote, small letter A, when you write, it's a character literal. Now string literal. String literal means anything in double quotes. Anything in double quotes. Hello, ACCT, any thing when you write in double quotes, that will be treated as string literal. String literal size is different. Each character will have 2 bytes because each character in Java uses 2 bytes. So what is the size of this one? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Total 5 into 2, 10 bytes. Okay, that's the size. Now there is one more constant, that is your Boolean literal. Boolean literal. Boolean literal means only true and false value can be kept. What type of value can be kept? Only true, otherwise false. Boolean literal can be used to store either a true or false. No other values. You cannot store 0, you cannot store 1 or something like that. Nothing. Only true or false. So this constant is reserved, either true, otherwise false. 1 byte is used, but 1 byte is reserved, but 1 bit is only used. Now null literal. Null literal means this is a literal. It's a literal, and that literal is null in small lowercase. That literal is null, null in lowercase. Don't write in uppercase. Uppercase, when you write, it will generate an error. So when you declare a reference data type, all reference data type like string, array, etc., and if you are not giving any value, its default value will be considered as null. It's a character. Null, it's a character. It's of null type. We have the next token as operators. Operators, we are knowing, are symbols used for doing an operation. See, doctors perform operations with various tools. For example, scissor. So here, in order to add A and B, we need a symbol. This symbol is called operator. So we have various kind of operators. Arithmetic operators and relational operators. All the operators will be covered in the next chapter. So we have arithmetic operator. Here we have 5 arithmetic operators. Relational operators, we have here 6 relational operators. These all are operators. Operators are helping us to do some operations. They are symbols to perform operations on operands. Okay, so here the operands, suppose consider this, A is equal to 10 plus 5. Plus is the operator and 10 and 5 are operands. Is it clear for you? Now we have another set of operators, that is logical operator. Logical operator, we have 3: logical and, logical or, logical not. As I told you, this will be explained there in the next section only. Assignment operator, symbol equal to is called assignment operator. And we have pre-increment, post-increment, decrement operators. This also will be discussed in the next section. Now separators. See, curly bracket is used to define block or to declare array with static elements. Now square bracket used to declare array variable. Only one use is there. Now parenthesis used to define or call function or used in expressions. Various uses are there. Semicolon to terminate a statement in Java. Comma used to separate variables. Suppose you wanted to declare many variables of same type, then we will be using comma. Now dot to access a method or function. To access means call a method or function in your program, dot will be used. So these separators you will be practicing, then only you will be understanding what is the use. At present you just see, okay, these all are also symbols used in Java for various purposes. That only you understand. Don't worry about these all symbols. That symbols we will be discussing afterwards. See, now there is a different thing, escape sequences. See, escape sequences means, see, it is written, these are the escape sequences. I have listed many escape sequences over here, but you need to learn only where arrow is there. These are the ones you need to learn, because these escape sequences are only mentioned in your syllabus. So please learn all those escape sequences where I have kept the arrow mark. Now you may be asking, what is this escape sequences? See, you are able to print this character from the keyboard, double quotes. You are knowing how to print it. Single quote, yes, obviously you can print. And this is backslash, that also you can print. But these characters, when used in Java, they all are having certain special meaning mentioned in Java language. When I use this one, for example, question mark, it's an operator. When I use double quotes, it is used for declaring a string type of data. This is single quote, it is used for declaring a character constant. You are knowing. So these all are having particular meaning in the language. But I have to use this symbol as only symbol. Question mark as question mark only, single quote as single quote only, double quotes as double quote only. So what is the solution then? If I use these symbols anywhere in Java program, that will be considered as the particular symbol which is having a special function. So here is the solution, that is, use these symbols as escape sequences. If you wanted to print somewhere question mark, then print it with the backslash, then question mark. This is backslash, not front slash. If you write in the examination this as front slash, we are not able to give any marks. You will get 0 marks. So these symbols, even though it can be printed from the keyboard, but we are not printing, because if we use these symbols as symbols, then these all symbols are having certain meaning in the language. And there are situations we need to use question mark as question mark only. Then what is the solution? You will be printing these characters with the backslash. Then the meaning of real question mark will be counted. Now you can see certain other symbols also. /a audible bell. That means when you press some particular keys, a beep sound will be produced. Okay, let us go to directly to the escape sequence which is mentioned in your syllabus. /n means new line. For example, suppose you are printing system.out.println hello, then /n world. That means after printing hello, the cursor will be shifted to the next line. So what do you mean by /n? /n means new line. /t tab. That means if you again system.out.println hello, then /t world, double quote closed, then semicolon, executing the statement. What you will get? You will get hello, then some fixed space, that is /t means. After that, what will be printed? World will be printed. This is in order to print backslash, to represent backslash. This I told you all the three. This is null. In as an escape sequence, if you wanted to represent null, then /0. Okay, so this certain characters are non-graphic in nature. What do you mean by non-graphic? Non-graphic means that characters cannot be printed directly from the keyboard. For example, when you press the enter key, any character printed on the keyboard, on the monitor? No. When you press capital letter A will be printed. It is not the case of backspace, enter key, space, etc. So they are called non-graphic characters. Characters which we are not able to directly print from the keyboard. That was the end of Java character sets. It is a technically very important chapter. I have tried my level best to explain the topics. So please go through the video 1 or 2 times and write the notes. Hope we will meet with another video. Take care of yourself. Bye.